What's up, nerds and nerdettes and wee little nerdlings all? It's your buddy Big Johnny G, the Two Gun Pixar presents Legendary Gaming. Alright, and we are still deep within the month of Halloween. October, Shocktober, Bloodtober. So we have been doing, as you've seen, we have been doing this entire month dedicated to horror games. And it continues now, my friends, with one of the greatest horror myths ever created, at least in modern times. And that is the world of the mythos. H.P. Lovecraft's creation. The elder beings, the old ones. Creatures that are beyond space and time itself. Beings that we humans with our finite minds can never truly fathom. These horrors are unseen, and yet we see too much. Now, the impact that Lovecraft's work has had in literature has been regarded for decades. Regardless of what you think of the man himself, his work stands the test of time. But what has that impact been on the board gaming community? There are tons of Lovecraftian games, maybe even more than general science fiction games. Maybe. I haven't counted them, but I have counted enough to know the ones that I count as my personal favorite. In fact, for this, we are doing our favorite 6 Lovecraftian Cthulhu games. And the countdown will be beginning from the bottom and working our way up. So we'll be starting with number 6 and working our way up to my personal number 1 favorite Lovecraft-inspired board game. Alright, we are, I see a spot right over here. Looks empty for now. Excellent. Alright, my friends, let us discuss this. And this may be my list, but I want to know what are your favorite Lovecraft games and why? Why are they your favorites? All right, well, let's discuss some of mine right now. I'll see you all at the bench. Thank you for joining me down at the bench, everyone. Now let's go over my personal 6 favorite Cthulhu-inspired board games. Number 6, coming at us from Twilight Creations. This is a game by Daryl Hardy. Good for 2 to 6 players, ages 12 and up, and it'll take 30 to 45 minutes. And what game is that? Escape from Innsmouth. This is a 1-versus-all escape game. One player is the lone human, not only trying to escape Innsmouth, but trying to find their fellow students. The other players will all be playing the deep ones, and it is their job to stop and to catch the human. This is a point-to-point movement game. This is going to be using a set of cards for both the humans as well as for the deep ones. The primary cards for the humans in this game are movement cards, but there are also item cards that you're going to get and you're going to need in order to survive. The miniatures in this game are fun to look at, and the deep ones look really great. In order to win this game, the player is going to have to outsmart and outmaneuver the deep ones in order to save their comrades, and ultimately escape from the cursed town of Innsmouth. Now, the rules for this game are light. They're not hard to learn, they're not hard to teach. The setup time for this game is incredibly fast, and the gameplay, as I said, is going to be less than an hour, making this one of the few Cthulian-based filler games out there. Perfect game to set up in between your larger games, or to start the night off with. Number 5. By Peterson Games, designed by Sandy Peterson. We have a 2 to 4 player game, good for ages 14 and up, and this is an epic one. This will take you anywhere from 90 to 120 minutes or more, depending on the number of players that you have. Now, although I said that this game is good for 2 to 4 players, it can get bigger. And that game, my friends, Cthulhu Wars. This is an area control game of world conquest. You are not fighting to stop the old ones, the ancient ones, the elder gods from coming into this plane of existence. No, they are already here. Now, you are playing one of these elder beings and controlling their faction. And you are warring against the others, for only one of you will truly get to destroy and rule over the ruins of the earth. This is all-out elder being smackdown. This is one epic battle after the next. The minis? Oh my god. Let me just say something about these minis. I can't. There's not enough to say about these minis. They look beautiful, and they are huge, massive minis. The biggest minis I've ever seen for a board game. If you enjoy games of world conquest, and you enjoy the mythos, this is a no-brainer, my friends, because this is one of the most epic conquest battle games I have ever played. Peterson Games also supports Cthulhu Wars with a huge selection, and I mean that in both miniature size and the amount of expansion support that they have for this game. The game board is designed for up to 5 players, even though there's only 4 factions in the core game. With all the other expansions, you can easily handle up to a war of 8 elder beings. Number 4, we're moving along, my friends, by Z-Man Games, designed by Matt Leacock and Chuck D. Yeager. This is a game for 2 to 4 players, ages 14 and up, and could take you about an hour to play this. And what game is that? That game, my friends, Pandemic, Reign of Cthulhu. Now this is a Lovecraftian twist on a modern-day classic game, Pandemic. The core game is trying to stop diseases from outbreaking around the world. This version of it, set in the late 1920s of the Miskatonic Valley, the players are investigators trying to close gates and prevent the elder beings from entering this world and destroying it. This is a fully cooperative game. In this game, you are preventing the old ones from destroying the earth, and the only way you can do that is by working together. The miniatures for this game are great, and they are fun to look at. The art in this game, the art is thematically pleasing. This looks beautiful and really sucks you in to the entire theme and genre of the game. This game does have the capacity to ramp up very fast. The intensity multiplies, turn by turn, like a frog boiling alive in a slowly heating pot of water. And the rules for this game are easy to learn and easy to teach. The setup time is not that bad, mainly just dividing out the decks and setting things up. Ultimately, what you're trying to do is get a collection, a set collection of light cards in order to close down each of the gates. You're able to trade between each other, and you're able to go off on separate missions. Pandemic Reign of Cthulhu is a great successor to Pandemic. Number 3, we are in the halfway mark, my friends. And the number 3 game on my list of my personal fan favorite horror games based on the Lovecraftian myths is a game by Fantasy Flight Games. And this is by Corey Konzika and Nikki Valens. 1 to 8 players can play this, ages 14 and up, and this game will take you an epic amount of time, 2 to 4 hours at least. Eldritch Horror. This is also a fully cooperative game, and will not be one if the players are not assisting each other. This is perhaps the most thematically deep, story-driven, Lovecraftian-based game I have yet to encounter. Each of the elder beings are unique, and you pick which one you will be facing off against, trying to prevent from entering this world. And each of these have their own unique set of decks. Their own unique story will unfold, and clues that will only help you against those particular and specific elder beings. Being from Fantasy Flight Games, as you can well imagine, my friends, there is a huge, massive support system of expansions that are available for this game. Expansions to take you to different parts of the world, encounter new investigators, new cards, and new old ones. Now, I want to warn you up front that the rules do seem daunting between the 2 books, the 2 rule books. However, once the rules are understood, everything in this game progresses quite organically and naturally, and you're going to find the rules to make a lot of sense. Keep in mind that this game is being brought to us from a great gaming company, a gaming company that has a fantastic track record, especially with Lovecraft-inspired games. If you're looking for an epic, all-night horror story to play through, Eldritch Horror may be the one you're looking for. Bringing us down to the top 2, and number 2 on my list is also by Fantasy Flight Games. This is designed by Richard Launius and Kevin Wilson. It is good for 1 to 8 players, ages 13 and up, and will take you between 30 and 60 minutes, maybe a little longer. And that game is Elder Signs. Elder Signs can be played solo, which is an interesting aspect to any Lovecraftian game. It uses a basic dice set collection mechanic where you will have to overcome challenges by collecting certain sets of certain colors of different dice. There is a large amount of strategy in this game. It is not all the luck of the roll of the dice, because you have to manage which of the adventures that you're going to go on, which case will you unravel. You may not be able to handle the ones you want to up front, but by handling the smaller ones, you will gain enough equipment and items that will help you with the tougher ones. As previously stated for the last game, this is a Fantasy Flight game, which means there is a huge support of expansion games available for Elder Signs. There is also even an app game that is a perfect translation of the board game right directly onto your phone. The artwork for this game is absolutely beautiful. You won't want to take your eyes off it. You will want to look at this game. Now my number one favorite Cthulian-based game. This is by Fabled Nexus Games and Greater Than Games. This is brought to us by Christopher Kirkman, Richard Launius, and Daryl Lauder. This game is good for 1 to 4 players, ages 13 and up, and will take you about 30 to 90 minutes. And that game, my friends, Fate of the Elder Gods. Now, this is an all-versus-all game, although it does have a solo mode. In this game, you, my friends, You yourself get to play as the cultists, not the investigators. There are a small handful of Cthulhian games where you're actually playing the cultists instead of the heroes, and this is my favorite version of that. In this area control game, you are going to be building up power bases and accumulating power in order to cast spells, to summon beasts, and to make maneuvers against the other players. The minis for this game are amazing. They look beautiful between the cultists and the investigators. These minis are going to be perfect, I think, for painting them, if that is your passion. The artwork itself on the board is mind-boggling. They did a fantastic job of incorporating not only beautiful art right into the game board itself, but designing it in such a way that sort of inspires a little touch of madness. The rules for this game are not complicated at all. Once you know the rules, you will hardly ever need to look at the rule book again. That's been our experience. There is one expansion for this game, Beasts from Beyond, and that is exactly what it is. Extra-dimensional horrific beasts that have torn their way or been summoned to our plane of existence, and the cults that summon them will be able to use them to maneuver against the competing cults. And the minis, let me tell you, for this expansion are fantastic. I am in love with the minis for Beasts from Beyond. So there you go, my friends. Those are my 6 favorite Lovecraft-inspired games, Cthulhian tabletop adventures. Perhaps one of them might be just the game you're looking for. What are some of your favorite Lovecraft-inspired games, and why? Why, out of all the massive amount of games we have on the market based on the works of H.P. Lovecraft, why are the ones you like your favorite? I want to know. I mean, I really want to know. Because as far as I'm concerned, and I said this before and I was mistaken, but I'm going to say it again, I think I'm done buying Cthulhu-based games. There's not enough new and different compared to the dozen or 15 or so I have on my shelf. What's your favorite and why? Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you for checking this out, watching this list. It's very cool that you gave us your time. Thank you so much for that. I also want to give a great big shout out to everyone that's been going over to our Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter pages and seeing what it is that we do over there and what we drop. Very cool. Thank you for checking that out. And of course, we have the Zazzle store, the official Two Gun Pixie print-on-demand store with nerd-inspired and RPG-inspired goofiness on our hats, shirts, mugs, hoodies, steins, and everything else I was able to put an image on. And even if you didn't buy anything, thank you for at least going over and taking a look, because in all honesty, you're not going to know if there's anything there for you until you take a look. So thank you very much, everyone. But the biggest thank you, and I mean this every single time, my friends, the biggest thank you of all is coming over here to YouTube and supporting us here, subscribing to our channel, watching the videos, liking them, commenting, and please, don't forget the sharing. That's the most beautiful thing, I think, is when you share a video by someone else. It tells the world that you thought they were worth your time, and maybe they might be worth someone else's time. So thank you, everyone. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for caring. Thank you for being here with us at Two Gun Pixie. We love it. We love seeing you. We love dropping these videos. I'm your buddy Big Johnny G for Two Gun Pixie. And my friends, I am out of here.